What's up, guys? It's Twice. I have yet another deck profile for you, and today I just felt kind of chill. I was like, you know what? I feel like I should probably do this deck profile sooner or later just to show you guys that I actually do have it. Oh, by the way, it's raining. You might hear that in the background. So, I'm just here with Hoki and the rest of the IS crew, and we got a pretty interesting deck profile for you. And I'm going to be honest, I had some hesitations when I was originally thinking of doing this one, just because I feel like the deck itself, like the archetype, just is kind of incomplete, but, we'll just move right into it. Alright, so this is going to be my Jewel Knight deck. I really like this, just because, I think Jewel Knights are really consistent. I think they're kind of powerful. And this is a really good starter for them. So this is Dreaming Jewel Knight Tiffany. Ability is pretty simple. You put her into the soul, and you give 2 Jewel Knights plus 3k. Pretty nice for late game pushes, because you can, like, throw it into the soul and give your 2 front rows plus 3k, especially like your 12k swingers, so that they swing for 15. It just helps you hit some bigger numbers. I've seen people run 2 and even 3 of these. Frankly, I don't really like to run more than one of my starter unless it's really crucial to a deck like Dan is to Dungaree. But, Tiffany really does help. Though I think the 8k booster that we're going to get in set 14 is going to be just a little bit better, so I'll probably be switching to that. But we're going to move on to the triggers now. So, this is kind of an offensive deck, so I run 4 of the Jewel Knight crits, and then I run 4 Alabaster Owls. I had to ransack my Majesty Lord Blaster deck to kind of get those. Then I run 4 Jewel Knight draws, and finally your always and forever obligatory 4 heals. Alright, so 8 crit 4 draw, kind of standard for this deck. The thing is that Jewel Knights are really good with getting extra crits. The Break Guard gives a crit. Salome, the boss card, has an extra crit when she swings. She's kind of like Majesty Lord Blaster like that. So crits all the time, just pressure your opponent. Nice early game, like first swing you put your opponent at 2 damage, that's always nice. Really, you just want to make sure that your opponent is overguarding every time because they don't want to get critted to death, because that's how the deck works. Draw triggers, honestly, are not necessarily for hand control, it's actually more for the field, because you do always want to be able to put down Jewel Knights to have a full field of Jewel Knights, because that's like how all of their abilities work. So I use the draws more so to have extra units in my hand just in case something gets retired, or if I have to throw down a trigger, that's pretty much the justification for the trigger lineup. But it's been actually pretty consistent thus far. So the grade 1s, I run 4 Stinging Jewel Knight Shelly. She's our K clone. The thing is, though, that she's not like other K clones where if you have a Jewel Knight Vanguard, she would attack for 10. It's actually weird. When she attacks, you have to have 3 other rear guards with Jewel Knight in their card names. So the power is given based on the rear guards you have, not the Vanguard. Which is actually pretty interesting because I once saw somebody using a Sanctuary Guard Dragon deck with Jewel Knights thrown into there, and it actually seemed to work pretty well because obviously you can have Sanctuary Guard sitting on the Vanguard, and then it doesn't matter because if you have Jewel Knights on the rear guard, then she's going to swing for 10, and he's obviously going to get the extra plus 3 because she is a grade 1. So that's what I do like about Jewel Knights, is that they don't necessarily limit themselves to just using Jewel Knight cards. Like, they can work pretty well with other kinds of Vanguards. But at the same time, because you have to have, exclusively Jewel Knights and you pretty much have to commit to a full field, there can be some consistency issues, but we'll get into how this deck deals with that in a little bit. But still, 10k attackers, 7k booster, she adds a lot of consistency and good power to the deck. Anyway, then I run 4 Jewel Knight Prismy. Just a drop and draw when you call her. If you have 3 other Jewel Knight rear guards, you drop and draw. Frankly, I find that I'm using this card a lot, especially when I call her from the deck. If there's something dead in my hand, like an extra grade 3 that I'm not using, just drop it and get something else. It can be nice. It's a 7k booster, it's a Jewel Knight, so that's really what Prismy is used for. The reason that I do run 4 Shelly and 4 Prismy is because, we really just don't have that many options. Jewel Knights, that's why I was really hesitant in showing you this deck profiles, because I feel like the archetype itself just isn't complete. Like, they didn't give us everything we needed in set 10, so they waited until 4 sets later to finally make Jewel Knights like a truly competitive deck. Or at least in my opinion, a truly competitive deck. So, 4 Prismy, it does help. Then I run 2 Marins. I know people like to run that other Jewel Knight that comes in the Mega Trial deck. It's way too hard for me to find that card, and you know what? I don't even really care for it. It's the Counterblast one, gets 1000 power. The Counterblast that I use in this deck are pretty much for Sybil and Salome, like for tutoring, and that's pretty much it. Marin is a nice 8k booster. He can help my rear guard swing for 20, just if if I need a little bit more power, Marin's there. Plus, you know, he's Marin. He's classic. You know, it's just, you gotta have Marin. You just gotta have a little bit of classic Royal Paladin in this deck. So the 2 Marins doesn't really hurt me in having non-Jewel Knight rearguards, because you do get, like, for Salome at least, you only need 4 Jewel Knight rearguards, so you can have that extra 1 space of a non-Jewel Knight, and I usually throw him behind the Vanguard. And then, as always, your 4 Perfect Guards. I will actually be running 1 Quintet Wall once Gloria comes out, mostly just because 1 Quintet Wall, not really that bad, but again, I like to preserve the counterblast in this deck for, at least I will, for Ashley Reverse, for Sybil if I do run her, and, you know, I do think that Perfect Guards are legitimately better. That's pretty much just it. And I don't really have problems in keeping a hand in this deck because it's easy to call stuff to the field. So 4 Perfect Guards, I think, at least 3 Perfect Guards, 1 Quintet Wall will be good enough for this deck. Anyway, so on to the grade 2s. I run 4 Fellowship Jewel Knight Tracy. And if you actually look, hang on, let me get her out again. I feel like this could honestly be a Legion if they ever made it. Like, have Shelly and Tracy, because as you can see, they are kind of part of the same picture. And she's actually, I think, supposed to be like the older sister to her, so I don't know, I don't know, I just thought that was kind of cool when I first saw it. So she's just the 12k attacker. Obviously, if her and Tracy are similar, or, sorry, Shelly are similar. Yeah, same thing, just 3 or more rear guards with Jewel Knight in their name, she gets +3. I do kind of rely on this card a lot, because it really is just the only, I'd say, good power card I have in the deck. But it's not really that big of a deal. If I do lose her, I could just, you know, tutor an Ashley, because she's an 11k base, or something. They do help a lot, though. Like, 12k attackers are really good in this deck, so just always run 4. And then for the other grade 2s, I was kind of hesitant about running this first, but I saw its merit and decided to keep it. And that is 4 Dogmatized Jewel Knight Sybil. So, Sybil only has 8k, which is why I don't like to run a lot of her, but I realized that running 4 was just for consistency. Abilities that when she's called or placed on the Vanguard or Rearguard, Counterblast 2, Superior Call a grade 1 or less card with Jewel Knight in its card name. So thankfully there's no special Counterblast for that, so you can use non-Jewel Knights to do that and then Jewel Knights to do Salome. But, you know, it just helps you get that extra tutor if you need it. Like, if you need another attacker, you can get a Shelly. You have something dead in your hand, you can get Prismy. You know, it just really kind of helps you fill up your field a little faster. Again, the 8k is kind of just disappointing, but you really do want to have as many Jewel Knights in the deck as you can. And the fact that, you know, it does give you a free +1 on the field, that's really nice. Well, not a free +1, you know, that extra Jewel Knight may actually make a difference. So yeah, I run 4 of her. And then I run 3 Knight of Details Claudin. He's just, when he attacks, if you have Vanguard with Limit Break, he gets +3. 11k attackers are actually pretty good, you know, for decks that are limited in options, especially Jewel Knights, just because I don't understand why we didn't get a 10k vanilla. Like, everything else gets a 10k vanilla except for Jewel Knights. You know, it just, why not in set 10 just throw in the extra 10k vanilla? That probably would have replaced Claudin. He does help, but he's only 8k base, so the power gap can be kind of annoying. But regardless, he's still a pretty useful card. You know, I ran Galatine in this deck for a while, and frankly, I just like the 11k attack more so than the 10. All right, on to grade 3s. It's really just the best lineup that we have. Run 4 Pure Heart Jewel Knight Ashley. A lot of people have said that this is the weakest break ride in the game, and I don't disagree with that. You ride and get 10,000 power and +1 crit. It's like, oh my god, thanks. Spino Driver and Daikaiser give that as well, and then they give extra abilities. Like, you know, retiring Perfect Guards. So that's why I was like, Bushi Road, what's going on? We've had Royal Paladin gone for like the entirety of Season 2, and you decide to give this to us as our break ride? You know, nothing against Ashley. You know, obviously it wasn't her choice, but, you know, whatever. It does help with the deck, kind of, because Salome gets an extra crit when she swings. So, swinging for 3 crit and that extra 10k power on the break ride turn is good, but at the same time, it's like, I wish it would have been like, you know, break ride 10k and get a grade 1 or something. You know, like more like a Mordred Phantom kind of thing. That would have been really nice, because that would be more helpful for Royal Paladins, because we need a full field. But, you know, it's whatever. Her cross break ride does make her a little bit more viable, because you do get tutors all day, because that's just what Ashley Reverse does. So yeah, not a huge fan of the Break Ride, but I guess it works. Alright, and then the star of the deck, the leader herself, leading Jewel Knight, Salome. A lot of people like to run Julia, Fearless Jewel Knight Julia, whose ability is that Limit Break, Counterblast 2, and you, for that unit's critical, like if she has 2 critical that turn, then you can Superior Call 2 units, or if she has 3 critical, you get 3 units. That's good, but the thing is that it's Counterblast 2, and sometimes I might not have open rear guards to call her. I might not want to call anything, or, you know, I don't know, I like this card more. I am pissed, though, because Salome is a 10k Vanguard, not 11. I don't understand why we can't just have an 11k Vanguard. Like, her ability is Limit Break. When you have 4 or more Jewel Knights, she gets plus 2k plus 1 crit. Is 13k plus 1 crit really that broken? You know, was it to the point where they had to make her 10k? Because it reduces her viability so much, especially against, you know, decks that will swing for 20. You know, it just makes it harder. I don't understand why Salome got, you know, really cheated, frankly, with the having a 10k base, but thankfully your secondary skill makes up for it. I actually say that's the more useful skill, especially Counterblast 2 Jewel Knights and Superior Call any Jewel Knight you want from your deck, so it could be, you know, a Tracy or, you know, a booster, whatever you need. So she's a really helpful Vanguard, like she's super useful, and she does add really good pressure. I'm not going to take that away from her. That extra crit is really nice, but just that 1,000 power that she doesn't have, just, it doesn't, it loses me a little bit, because it doesn't make her as viable as I think as she could be. But, you know, set 14 comes out soon, and hopefully Jewel Knights will be better. I like this deck, but again, I just really had some hesitation in showing it to you guys, because I don't feel like the clan was, or the sub-clan was given everything that it needed. It was a little cheated, in my opinion. Anyway, so, hope to see you guys soon. Hope you like the deck profile. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more Team Zenith. Have a great day, and keep card fighting. We'll see you next time.